Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. My guest tonight he's a writer, a producer, and director, Jonathan Salemi. Did I say it right?
Correct, yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I checked out your film on Stars, The Last Deal. Man, that movie was pretty wild. So, how'd you come up with the script and decided to talk about the legalization of marijuana?
So I needed to come up with first off, thank you for watching it and thank you for having me on. Appreciate it. But I came up with the idea back in October 2019. So I needed to make something that would sell, something that's a little bit commercial. And I was watching a bunch of 70s films, and they came up with the idea for like a guy behind the eight ball who does a deal gone bad and needs to recoup from that. And I have a lot of knowledge in the cannabis industry, a lot of friends that work within the industry as well. So I decided to base it within that world and have a character in 2016 when cannabis became legal in California to get squeezed out of the business. And it created this nice scenario where he would have to get a loan and get in bed with the wrong people. So I started writing the idea for that in October 2019, and then I had the script, and we started shooting 10 months later.
That's pretty good. How'd you get Anthony to play Vincent on the movie?
So Anthony Molinari came about from my producer, Carl Cifarlio. Carl is a veteran stunt coordinator, been in the industry for a long time. I worked with Carl on a short film. He did all the stunt coordinating on that, and we struck up a friendship. And Carl recommended Anthony for the role, met Anthony, and it all worked out. And Anthony recommended Sala Baker, who plays the lead bad guy, and that's how those three worlds converged.
Yeah, Anthony and Salama, they had that great chemistry. It was like a love-hate chemistry. And the cool thing I love about how you shot the scenes is, well, you could tell how they played off each other pretty well.
Yeah, they definitely knew each other prior. So there was a relationship there. And yeah, Sala just really took like a fish to water with the bad guy role.
Yeah, I mean, they both did a pretty darn good job. And I love how you wrote Anthony's character, Vincent. He went through a lot of hard times in that movie, couldn't get a license because it was legal to do marijuana. He got stuck in a bad deal. His one friend was, getting him in trouble. And it's just crazy how everything was going bad for Vincent.
Yeah, it was, when I wrote it, I was thinking back, there was minutes that I read when George Lucas and Spielberg and Kasdan wrote the original Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And Lucas was talking about the serials of the 50s and 40s, how, he wanted the character to fall off a cliff every 10 minutes. So when I wrote this script, I was like, hey, I want to do the same thing, that every 10 minutes in the film, there's something really bad that happens to our character that works against him, or he falls off a cliff, figuratively, and so that was the genesis behind that.
How'd you get Gigi to be part of the film?
So we were casting during COVID, and fortunately for the production, we had a lot of actors available to us that wouldn't normally be available because of their freedom with scheduling, and Gigi submitted for the role to our casting, and we brought her in, and I think the original role she auditioned for, we couldn't cast her in that role, but we knew we needed to use her somewhere, and so the role popped up for her. We gave her a call, she was aboard, and just really good team player and a really awesome person to work with.
Yeah, I also enjoyed the music score of the film too. Who did the music score?
So that was done a double-headed dragon. So Tony Fiala did all the score. All the original score was done by Tony Fiala. He did an amazing job. He comes from the trailer world, and he scored my other shorts. And then Scott Toomey he has a synthwave show in Massachusetts, and he picked all the synthwave songs. So he had his finger on the pulse for all the synthwave artists in the world, and that's how we got the combination of score plus the synthwave.
That's pretty good too. And also your film was shown at select theaters, and also it's going to be shown in the UK. So what do you think about that going across the pond?
That was awesome. So it was very cool to be in a theater and see it played on the big screen here in California, and then it played across the country too. And then, September 1st, it comes to the UK, or goes to the UK. And it's nice that it's now getting some international legs. And we're closing the deal in other European countries in the Middle East. So by the end of the year, it should be in a bunch of other territories to watch.
So when you saw your film on the big screen, did you check out what the film goers were thinking and what they were feeling when they were watching that film?
Not so much, but I did see the reviews coming in, and they were all positive. The critics were all positive, Rotten Tomatoes, and across the board, it was doing well. It was doing what I expected. So it was nice to see the reception for how people were feeling about the movie, and they got the film that we created.
Also, there was a lot of fight scenes in the movie. So since Anthony's like a stunt man, did he choreograph most of the fight scenes and stunts?
So he participated. So Carl did all the coordinating with myself and Anthony, and it was basically Anthony and Carl worked in tandem of bouncing off ideas for how to do the dance, and that's how it all worked. And then Dominic Lopez, who lensed the picture, he did all the framing and coordinated that way, and then I just sat behind the monitor and made sure it all looked like punches connected and things felt real.
So, some of the cannabis scenes in the film where they were growing it, all that, were those like what you said earlier on the podcast? Were those your friends' farms that were growing all that marijuana that you were filming?
Yeah, so that's all real weed. Jay, the owner at Jolly Farms, he lent us Jolly Farms. There was an outdoor and an indoor grow. We made that into like 3 separate locations. And the cool thing is, if you watch the movie, you'll see the plant in all different stages, starting from very baby to about time to harvest. And yeah, we had access to all of that. My buddy Mike Macaluso, he owns a cannabis CBD company called Living Legends. He helped connect all the dots there, and it worked out well.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, that's what I was wondering, because you got some good cinematography shots in there through certain scenes, and I love how you used the certain lighting, the different color tones when you were like at these the marijuana farms, how you were filming it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, our goal, Dominic and myself, going into the film was to maximize neon colors and warm and cool tones. And the cool thing about warehouses, like cannabis warehouses or grow houses, they have the natural, however you want to describe it, the sodium vapor, oranges and yellows from the plant that's hard to recreate anywhere else, just the color temperature of those lights. I think it lends her a really cool look.
I thought so too. It just made it so authentic. It made you feel like you were right there with the characters in that cannabis farm, you know, looking at all that, you know, it's like you can almost like smell it.
Yeah, like at the end of the film, like spoiler alert, you see the green lights.
Yeah.
Because cannabis grows in red, greens, yellows, all different spectrums. But we didn't know about the green lights until well into production. And I was trying to rewrite a scene that would take place all in that green light, because the green light is very cool.
I think so too. And there was one kill scene I loved in the movie. It was like a clean slit cut. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, whoever did that that clean slit cut like that had to been like a surgeon or something, man, just to perfect that.
Oh my God, it's amazing what we pulled off for the budget that we had. And that's a big thanks to Robert Bravo. He did the practical, so that was a combination of the practical with VFX and post, and then big like mention to Mister, who had the prop on him,
yeah,
who had to do it twice. So we shot it one day, then had to do it a second day,
yeah, and
so we combined practical with the VFX, and it looked amazing. So that stream that you see is all in the day, and then Paul, who did our VFX over at Foxtrot, expanded it and blended it out, and then made the saturation on the shirt.
Yeah, it looked like, it really looked like lifelike. It looked like he was like really, like really dying. You could just feel it, the effect of it, man. I mean, that was just a clean cut. I was just surprised. I was just like, wow.
Yeah, the combination of what they did and then the performance. So like what Mr. Dave,
yeah,
that wasn't too over the top, was very neutral and perfect. That if you're bleeding out, it's not going to be some wild scream, like you're fucked, and it's going to just come out. And we went back and forth a lot in post on that, and I really wanted to feel as real as possible.
Yeah, it did. That movie kind of had like a little 80s vibe too. It's kind of reminded me of like a 80s/90s vibe. I know it was more into the modern take, but I kind of got like an 80s, 90s. I felt like I was watching an 80s, 90s type of vibe film.
Absolutely. Those are the films I grew up on. We're probably around the same age, and I grew up watching those films, and so they're a huge influence on me. But it was more like me, like, I love letter combined with inspiration for choosing it to look that way. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted that, like, 80s, like, guy against the ropes on the bridge while the synthwave music plays, and he looks out over the city while the lights are back there. Like, that's what I was going for. It felt very natural to me, and I was hoping it would be natural and real for the audience when they watch it, but with a 2023 feel.
Yeah, I mean, I like that scene too. Kind of remind me of also like a little bit of a Miami Vice vibe, kind of like a Miami Vice episode.
Yeah, I just needed the white sports coat with the pink T-shirt.
Yeah, you would have been fine with the Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Yeah. It's one of my dreams to actually have in a movie that, like, 1980s or 90s Ferrari, red Ferrari or black Ferrari. I just think it would be so cool. But yeah. So
you've done other films too. Have you ever touched and did anything in horror?
Not yet. I would love to. Because I think a lot of the elements in an action film coincide with a horror film. So hopefully, as we move along in the career, hopefully a horror film will come my way.
Oh, that would be perfect, and you can get Anthony. I can see Anthony doing a horror film.
Yeah, he could play a bad guy. He's really good as a bad guy. Like, the guy has tons of credits, and he played a bad guy in Barry on HBO.
Yeah. Was this Anthony's first lead role in the film? Because I've known he's been in a bunch of other films and did stunts. So was this actually his first role in the film as a lead?
It was. Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. He took to it pretty well as well, and was. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better lead actor than Anthony. Just the collaboration, the friendship, and we have a friendship now, which is awesome. And he blew it out of the park. Like, for someone that had to do their own makeup and hair all the time, in his car, he had a bar going across the back of his car where he hung up all his wardrobe. like what more could you ask for in a lead actor? And most of the cast did that as well too.
Hey, that's a lot easier. I mean, you have the costumes right there and there.
Yeah, hashtag indie film.
It's no hashtag support indie film.
That too, yes.
So do you think indie films are getting more popular now because of the writers and actors strike right now? It seems like there's more and more indie films popping out of the woodwork.
I want to think that. I want to think maybe there's more awareness towards them because our oversaturation with tentpole films, and then just other films that are out there that may not be what the appetite is for the audience nowadays. The resurgence of like A24 films and Blumhouse, I think, helped pave a way because those are technically in many ways indie films as well. But yeah, I hope that the audience's appetite for indie films continues to grow, and I think we've seen some really fun ones. You're a horror fan, like like I watched Terrifier 2, and I think what the director did there was awesome, and hopefully that audience continues to stay there, which was like the 70s. The 70s was built off of these indie filmmakers that grew.
Yeah, I think indie horror is on fire right now because I think it's getting more popular. All the people I've talked to, it seems like more and more people want to see more indie horror than the mainstream horror you see in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's different. You know, you go back to the A24 films, like I think A24 made It Follows and stuff like that, and you know, I think it makes it more fun because I think the filmmakers get more creative freedom, and instead of having a bunch of people lending their opinion, you're now making that opinion to a smaller pool of people, which I think makes for more decisive decisions and beats to the drum of the purpose of servicing the movie.
I think so too. If you, since you're thinking about doing an indie horror film, what type of film would you be doing if you did one?
I have one that I've been constantly going back to, and it revolves around a couple that go into the woods and get chased down and end up possibly getting murdered, or at least one of them. Kind of like A Wrong Turn meets one of those films. I haven't written it yet. The film I'm writing right now is an action film, and that's what I'm looking at to make my next film as is an action film that's bloody, you know, and it has like The Last Deal, like The Next Slices, that kind of feel. But yeah, I'm always looking for a good horror film, and hopefully one comes my way.
Also about The Last Deal, do you think there would ever be a sequel to it to see where Vincent's going? It seems like how you ended it, that could lead into a sequel of what Vince is going to be doing.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, I'm not sure if we'd call it like The Very Last Deal or something like that, but when I was writing it with my story editor, Dan, he was suggesting towards the end, when we're getting nearer the end of the scene, he's like, hey, you should really end this with something so you can make a sequel, because there's something to be said for sequels. Even if it's an indie film that no one's ever heard of, the fact that you do have some fan base there and you can grow off of that, I think is a great power for filmmakers, and that's the way my mind is working right now. So the film I'm writing right now is called Kill 49. It's an action film about a hitman, and I am writing it being knowledgeable of having it that I can make a sequel.
That Kill 49 sounds pretty good. I definitely got to see that once you get that written, shot, filmed. Oh man, that sounds cool. I like films with. I also love action besides horror. I love horror, sci-fi, and action, but I also like a good film with a hitman.
Yeah. You know, we've seen it many times before. You know, John Wick has made it quite popular. But I was like, hey, can I bring this back to like the 70s, like Michael Mann, Thief? Although James Caan wasn't a hitman in that, but can I make a movie like that that's very gritty and it's a little bit more personal? So that's what I'm going for right now, and it actually is starting to have some like Western feels to it. So.
Oh, that's even good too, having the little Western feel. That's kind of cool. I like when people go back and make like a hitman or an action or a heist movie that's based during the 70s. I just like that type of genre of film.
Yeah, like it's moving towards like a neo-Western. So there's no horses or anything like that. But just some of the messages and the tone and some of the shootouts, the way they take place. It's just started within the last week, and I'm on the second draft. I'm almost done with it. But I'm now starting to make some touches that brings it into that category because it's just where I'm going.
So what other films are you working on that's going to be coming out soon?
So just The Last Deal, doing the international on that, and then Kill 49, which I'm writing right now, and then waiting for the WGA strike to lift. So I was pitching Kill 49 back when we were seeking distribution on The Last Deal in late 2022. So I have a pool of people that are interested in it, went off, wrote it, and towards the end of it, right now and just waiting for the strike to lift so I can start to pitch it.
Yeah, I know. Let's hope the strike ends so we can see some good movies and some of our favorite TV shows, man. I don't want to see all this reality crap TV.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point. You know, they met again last week, I think, to talk about some points, so hopefully we'll hear this week that they came to some resolution, or I feel like I'm cautiously optimistic that it's positive signs right now. I can't speak for SAG. That seems to be a little bit further away, but the WGA seems to be a little bit closer.
I think so. You writers deserve to get all what you get because you guys are the heart and soul of the film industry, and you write that good script to make the actors look good. Without you guys, there wouldn't be no films or TV shows. Yeah,
it's a collaborative effort. There's a lot of people that go into making a movie. And I think a lot of the points that the WGA are fighting for are totally legitimate and should be serviced. For me, especially, I don't understand why they're taking writers off of the sets. Fortunately for me, I tend to, I'm at least tending to write the films I make, but I have a story team that helps me. And to not have them on set with me, and now I have to come up with all the solutions for that. That's totally in the director's realm, but to have that it's not even a luxury, but to have that need of having the writer there that I can always be bouncing stuff off of because I'm very collaborative. That for me is very important. I think the writer should be there, and I know it differs for director to director, what they want, but you write the movie, and there's sort of other baked-in levels that these writers should have. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's fingers crossed for the writers, man. Fingers crossed for the writers.
Yeah, that and get good health and pension, so.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't do that. Give you guys the health benefits and pension. You guys should get that besides writing scripts or like you said, directing or being an actor or actress. I think you should get that like every other average Joe, from different jobs. I think you guys should get all that. That's how it should be. There's too much greed out there.
Yeah, I'd be curious what comes out of the latest negotiations and what they settle on. Because it's going to affect everyone for years to come.
Yeah. So when you're not filmmaking and writing, do you have a passion you enjoy?
I do like trading stocks.
Okay.
It's like a separate part of the brain. So and I do it my beach chair right there. So I over here behind us. Yeah. I have my writer's board. It's a bunch of index cards.
Okay.
Act 1, 2, 3, 4, blah blah blah. There's no Act 4, but Act 1, 2, 2A, midpoint, Act 2B, Act 3.
Yeah.
So I have my board over here, and I'm looking at the board over from here as I write, but I need to take breaks, so I'll go on my cell phone and I check out my stock account, and I like following the charts. It kind of takes my mind off of stuff, and then because I'll take my mind completely out of the creative, and then I can jump back in. I don't know why it seems to work for me, but it works.
Hey, that's something different. That helps you, concentrate while you're, writing scripts. Why not? That's what you like.
Yeah, that or procrastinating, but whatever.
Everybody procrastinates.
I know.
You got to do something, right?
Yeah, find something you can do that gets you back into the place where you need to be.
So where can everybody find you on social media to see what you're going to be doing next?
Yeah, so I'm most active on my Instagram. I think it's jonathan.salemi. And then they can follow the movie. The website is thelastdealmovie.com. You can get all the info for it there. And then our Instagram Last Deal page is very active too. That's the Last Deal Movie on Instagram.
Is your film going to be in distribution where it's going to be coming out on Blu-ray or DVD?
I don't think so. We we talked about the physical last year, and I think I don't think the dollars make sense.
Okay.
From what I understood. I think in the case where it was like a cult hit or something like that, maybe they would look into that. There was some discussion about like VHS because we have like that 80s synthwave going on, but I don't think we're gonna hit the physical.
Well, darn it, man. I support physical media, man. I mean, I really enjoyed the film. I would have loved to have it in my film library.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel the same way, too. Like, I've got a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays. Although I don't watch them, I like seeing them there. So, like I've got, over here, I have Heat on Blu-ray. I've never opened it.
Heat's a good movie.
He's a great movie, but it seems like I DVR, and it'll be on my DVR, so there's never a reason for me to actually open the DVD or the Blu-ray. And I've a Lethal Weapon box set there, too, that's completely unopened because it's always on, and I'll randomly check it out.
You know, it's so funny. I'm the same way. I got a huge movie collection. I got so many movies I could just pick and watch. But for some reason, I'm like you. I just end up watching them on TV or streaming. It's like, I got them right here, but why am I watching them on streaming?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like for me, it's a reminder of the movies I like.
Yeah.
And it helps in that regard. So I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't seen The Last Picture Show in a while. Let me watch that. And that film I actually watched. I tend to watch like once every couple of years, so it's not in the box. I do actually put that into my PlayStation and watch it.
That's pretty wild. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me and supporting indie film and The Last Deal.
All right, thank you.